The Eastern Conference has been extremely weird this season. The Cavs are the 1 seed winning 30 games. The Bucks won the in-season tournament after starting the season far below 500. The Miami Heat are exploding internally with Jimmy Butler wanting out. The Orlando Magic have lost all their stars and yet are still winning. Haliburton has forgotten how to play on the road. And the 76ers are forming a big three that have struggled to get close to 500. Many publications had this team as a championship contender and a top team in the East. People expected this big three to play together but forgot that 2 out of the 3 can't seem to stay on the court. Embiid has missed 19 games and PG has missed 10 this season. Even their star rookie Jared McCain is now down for the rest of the season after suffering a meniscus tear. McCain was one of the reasons the Sixers were winning games early in the year with their star players out. Once he entered the starting lineup and averaged 30 minutes per game, he averaged 22 points per game on 37% from 3. He set an NBA record for the most made three-pointers, 24, in his first 5 career starts. The kid was a runaway favorite to win Rookie of the Year, but is now out for the rest of the season. A continuous theme for the 76ers organization is dealing with constant injury troubles. Embiid and PG are expected to be the leaders of this team and have failed to perform or be available. In the 11 games Embiid has played, he's only averaging 24 points per game on 7 rebounds, shooting 44% from the field. Just awful numbers for the former MVP and the leader of this franchise. He also stirred up drama when he said he didn't plan on playing back-to-backs this season, but then took it back as a quote-unquote troll. His lack of leadership was present when the team had a players-only meeting and Maxey called him out for his tardiness and to be much more accountable as the face of the franchise. It's been disappointing to see one of the most dominant big men in the league turn into a shell of himself with the amount of injuries he's dealt with. Throughout his career, Embiid has never played over 70 games and has had multiple serious injuries. In this past playoffs, he played with Bell's palsy in his face and had just returned from recovery over a torn meniscus. With these injuries piling up, it seems it's starting to catch up to him. When you compare him to other dominant big men in their 9th season, he is far below the standard of being an all-time great. And he most likely won't play anywhere close to 70 games this season like the other great big men. Even when we compare him to his number 1 rival Nikola Jokic, he's far behind the 8 ball statistically, with Jokic beating him out in almost every statistical and efficiency category. It's now becoming a concern if we'll get to see Embiid play at an MVP level for much longer. Now let's look at the other big problem, Paul George, who was signed on to be the team's 3rd star but has yet to show up. When he's played, it's been far below the standards he set for himself, averaging 15 points per game, shooting 40% from the field and 31% from 3. It's just been awful from one of the better wings in the NBA. His availability has always been an issue, but he would come back and produce at close to a 20 points per game level, but this year he's nowhere near that mark. It's been tough to watch him after getting paid $211 million. He has a negative plus-minus on the year amongst players averaging over 30 minutes per game. His offensive rating is the 4th worst in the NBA at 103. 76ers hope they can find the best out of Paul George, or else they've wasted $200 million on a player that can't play at a high level anymore. Maxey has basically been on his own this year, left to carry the team and try to pull them into the play-in territory. Currently sitting at the 11th seed, they got blown out by the average Warriors the other night. So it's hard to say what this team is right now. With the lower seeds in the East being very weak, there is a chance this team can climb when it gets healthier. But they are not a threat as a championship contender as previously thought. The Orlando Magic have been the surprise team of the East, dominating teams even without their best 2 players. The Magic currently sit at the 4 seed with a 20-14 record, which is very good without Franz Wagner and Banchero, who are missing extended periods with serious injury. The Magic have been able to sustain with a dominant home record of 13-4, and with players like Jalen Suggs, rookie Tristan da Silva, Goga Badatse, and many others picking up the pieces for their injured stars. Suggs, since the injury of Franz Wagner, has been averaging almost 20 points per game, taking a huge step up for the team. He's usually a defensively focused guard, but when he needs to score at will, he will. Silva, the German rookie, is averaging 12 points per game with multiple 20-point performances in this stretch, showing strong potential for his future in the league. As a collective, this Magic team is top 3 in the NBA in defensive rating and is a big reason why they've been able to keep their season afloat. I'd like to briefly mention the performances of Franz Wagner and Banchero to emphasize how strong this team will be once they return from injury. Franz, in the absence of Paolo, had found himself and was a scoring mastermind. He averaged 26 points per game on 6 rebounds a game, consistently lighting up teams. He had huge performances like his game winner against the Lakers where he scored 37 points with 11 assists, hitting the final go-ahead 3. He was unreal before suffering an oblique injury that cut his All-Star season short. Paolo, on the other hand, came out of the gates blazing hot, averaging 29 points per game in his 5 games with a 50-point game against the Pacers where he couldn't be stopped. No matter what he did, every shot went in. He became the youngest player in Magic history to record a 50-point game and the second youngest player with 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in an NBA game, only trailing LeBron James. He was showing the league that he had arrived and was ready to be placed in MVP conversations. Unfortunately, he got hurt, suffering a torn oblique and is sidelined for the past few months. Fortunately, reports are saying he's fully healed and ready to ramp up through conditioning and get back on the court soon. Once this duo comes back, they'll be able to compete with anyone in the East. The Magic has surpassed expectations. Now let's talk about a team that has been far below them again. The Indiana Pacers have been a shell of themselves compared to what they were just last year. They led the NBA in pace and made the Eastern Conference Finals behind Haliburton and Pascal Siakam. Now, this season, almost everything has been sideways for them. Their biggest strength and identity was pushing the pace, and this year they've been slower, sitting at 7th in the NBA in pace. Their offensive rating went from number 2 in the NBA down to 10th, so as a whole, their offense has been slower and worse compared to last year, leading to their struggles. Their defense had never been good, currently sitting at the 24th ranked defense in the NBA, so without that top-level offense, it's hard to cover up for their weaknesses on that side of the ball. Many of these struggles were fixed last year with Haliburton having an all-NBA season, but it's been a struggle for him this year. Haliburton has been playing at a much lower level than he did in his previous season. If we just look at the surface level stats, his points per game are down 3, and his assists per game are down 2. Now to dig a little deeper to look at his efficiency, we see that his true shooting and efficiency field goal percentage are also down. It's been a rough year of shooting for him, and when your best player struggles, the whole team struggles. His biggest struggles have been on the road this season, where he becomes a completely different player. On the road, he averages 16 points per game, shooting 30% from 3. It's a 3-point per game drop-off from his home statistics. Haliburton is the engine that makes the Pacers go. If he doesn't return to his form from last season, there won't be a chance the Pacers can surpass expectations in the playoffs again. Haliburton has shown signs of improvement, especially on the road with his game against the Heat where he scored 33 points and dished out 15 assists. There's hope for Pacer fans that this road game will turn his woes around into a more consistent player regardless of travel. Overall, the Pacers at 17-18, good for 8th in the East, is not what many expected for a team that just made the Eastern Conference Finals, and hopefully they can turn it around. Teams all around the East are struggling far greater than expected or far exceeding expectations that many had for them before the season. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season, and if these teams can turn it around, or in the Magic's case, continue to win and improve in the standings. Thank you for watching the video. It would help out a lot if you could subscribe and leave a like. Peace out.